Has this ever happened to you?
Wow, there is nothing on TV. I mean, nothing. I wish I had some place to turn to for suggestions.
Well, now you do. Movies, TV, music, games, and all things geek culture have a new home.
The Basic Ass Dudes podcast?
Yeah, but that was my line. Hosts Nolan and Joseph are just a couple of basic-ass dudes who enjoy the simpler things in life.
Wait, who's that random actor from that movie again?
I'ma get medieval on your ass.
Oh, you mean Vin Rames?
Yeah, that's the guy. Thanks, Basic Ass Dudes.
You're welcome. We're full of a bunch of useless pop culture facts.
Basic-ass dudes and basic-ass dudettes are welcome.
Hey, Basic Ass Dudes. Thanks for the great music suggestions.
Anytime. We love some basic ass music.
New episodes drop every 2 weeks. But that doesn't really help you, does it? Because you don't really know if it's this week or next week, or maybe there's a show break. Or zombies have finally emerged and killed the host. Your best to just subscribe on YouTube, follow us on social media, and make it part of your routine to check daily for new episodes. Audio-only episodes are released the week after the video drops, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
I can't wait for more Basic Ass Dudes podcasts.
And we can't wait to give it to you.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Cognitive Discourse. So, before I begin, I just want to let everybody know a lot of these episodes I pre-record and I backlog and I'm able to put them out whenever Friday comes around. I kind of go through the episodes, figure out which one I want to put out. Some of them I'll have a little more of a timestamp of what's going on during that time, so I have to like kind of move them up from other topics that I'm talking about. And so like I had episodes planned to release today, a certain episode, and I'm going to kind of push that back because something crazy happened today that I kind of want to talk about, that if you have kids, I'm pretty sure this is going to irritate you. I'm a little disappointed in the way that I reacted because after said situation, I started thinking of like funny comebacks that I could have said to diffuse the situation or make it not as bad, as far as letting it bother me emotionally. I'm still proud of myself that I didn't take it to an extreme and hurt the person, but I did still allow them to get under my skin enough to where I got flustered and I had that moment of thought of wanting to hurt said individual. So I want to kind of just get it off my chest and talk to you guys about it. And you know, I'm also interested in seeing what you would have done in said situation. But anyway, so first off, let me just say I woke up today and I was in a pretty good mood. I was in a lethargic mood. My mom had texted me and was like, hey, you want to go get something to eat? You know, I know you've been kind of stressed out with some stuff the past couple of days. You know, let me take you out and treat you to lunch and you know, see if we can alleviate some of that stress, you know, just by having a good day out. And I said, okay. Unbeknownst to her, a lot of the stress has been coming from the little bit of times that I have to leave the house or I try to do something nice for my family by taking them out to dinner, and I'm running into fucking dickheads. Like it's just anyway. So I agreed, and we went to this little Mexican restaurant that she likes that makes really good tortillas. And so she always likes going there because my mom's old school. She likes tortillas and butter. So we go there. We took the kids with us. My wife's working today, so you know my mom just wanted to kind of treat me, and so we go out and we go out to eat. And I had planned on today to make steaks. Actually, I haven't made steaks at home in a really long time, and where we used to live, the HEB by the house, my old house, used to sell bison steaks. And so we haven't had bison steaks in a really long time. And the wife and my mom love the way I make them, and they wanted me to make them for them tonight. And I didn't really feel like driving out that far. In hindsight, maybe I should have. But we ended up going to an HEB on the rich side of town, like the really wealthy side of town. I'm talking an area that like you have Spurs basketball players living in that area. You have, B-list celebrities and stuff like that. Like it was a nice part of town. And the HEB there is pretty nice, but it's filled with a bunch of rich white old people. And nothing against rich white old people, but in my day, I used to work at Mercedes, and rich white old women who spend all their husband's money and never worked a day in their lives are the worst type of people that I know. And if you're a rich white woman who's never worked a day in your life and spends your husband's money and you don't think that that's you, chances are it still is. So if I offend you, I really don't care. Then maybe you're not all like that, but the ones that I've run into have been. Anyway, I don't want to generalize too much and come off sounding like an asshole. I'm just frustrated with the whole situation. So anyway, we drove to this HEB, and I was already I got annoyed at first because we pulled up to, we were driving by and there was a handicap spot that was available, and a guy that got in it couldn't drive for shit, took forever to park. And then, my mom sees his license plate, doesn't see handicap license plate. So then she's like, I bet you he doesn't even have one. I was like, well, he might have the placard. So just, give him the benefit of the doubt. We pull up, no placard. And he was still trying to park. So I basically told my mom, I was like, maybe he's one of those guys that, puts it on there after he parks, still trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Right. And, I wasn't going to start trouble with him because, my mom, I have a handicap placard in my truck, but it's for my mom. And my mom was going to stay in the truck and I was going into HEB by myself just to see if they had the bison steaks there. So I told my mom, I was like, I'm not going to start shit with him because, again, like if you were going inside, I'd say something to him. But the fact is that, I'm going inside. I don't need a handicap spot. I don't mind parking a little further out and walking into the store. I actually prefer parking further out because, again, my truck doesn't have assholes parking next to it. And for the most part, I rarely have any issues when I park out that far. Notice I said rarely. Today was not today was the exception, I guess. So we park, and I have both my son and my daughter with me. And I tell my mom, look, I'm just going to run in and see if they have the steaks. If they don't, I really don't feel like driving in a 3009, so I'll probably just see what kind of steaks they have. If they have any good looking like sirloins or ribeyes, maybe I'll buy here if they're at a decent price. And she's like, okay. So I pulled in and I was like, I'm just going to take Rogue with me, which is my daughter. I was like, I'll leave my son in the truck with you. If that's fine. We'll just leave the AC running because it's pretty hot outside today. So I was like, well, just leave the truck running and have the AC so the truck's cool when we come back. She's like, okay, that sounds good. And of course we also had leftovers. So I didn't want the leftovers to go bad from the restaurant. So I walk around. Now my son is behind me. I'm on the driver's side. My son's behind me because he's got shorter legs. I'm about 6'1", 240. So my seat on my truck, I sit pretty far back. I have a Tacoma, so it's an older truck. It's a smaller truck, so it's not a full-size truck. So, in that truck, I'm pretty big as far as leg-wise, so my seat needs to be all the way back. So my legs aren't hitting the steering wheel, and I can drive comfortably. So I put my son behind me because he's the younger one. My daughter being 5, she has longer legs. I put her on the passenger side because both my mom and my wife, when they sit in the front seat, they're short. They have plenty of leg room. My mom's 5'4", my wife's 4'11", so they got plenty of leg room, so they can move up a little bit so my daughter can have some leg room herself. So I have to walk around from the driver's side over to the passenger side. I open the passenger door in the back, and her face was a little dirty from when we went out to eat, so I get a napkin and I start wiping my kid's face. And it just so happens while I'm doing that, this old white bitch comes around and she's parked on that passenger side. Now, mind you, I parked perfectly center in between the lanes. She was directly on the line coming over into my space. So it was already a pretty tight squeeze. But she's the one that didn't park within the lines. And so as I'm wiping my kid's face, I'm literally finishing up wiping her face. So my daughter she knows how to undo the chest plate. So all I was needing to do was undo the buckles near her crotch that they buckle down in. It doesn't take me long to do that. And so I'm wiping my kid's face, and I hear from behind me, "Excuse me, I'm trying to get into my car." And I look up real quick, and I see her standing there. I'm like, oh, like she's trying to get into her car. And I'm literally going to be done in a few seconds, actually. So I go, well, hold on. I've got to take the buckles off my kid and we'll go about our way. Give me just 2 seconds. And I wasn't trying to be slow or anything like that. And then she goes, "Oh my God, are you serious?" Like, and it's funny because she had this like Valley, California accent, and she was like an older lady. Like she was probably in her late 50s, or she just didn't age well. But she was up there in age, but she sounded like a fucking 20-year-old Valley girl from California. And I poked my head through the window again. I was like, yeah, I'm serious. I'm taking my kid out right now. Just give me a few minutes. And she starts huffing and puffing. So at that point, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take my time now. So I start going a little bit slower, wiping my kid's face. I pull her out, and she's just chirping the whole time. And I finally get my kid out, and she's like, it wouldn't have been that hard to close your door and let me in. I'm like, yeah, and it wouldn't be that hard to have patience. It's kind of sad that my 5-year-old has more patience than you do, and you're a grown-ass woman. And she goes, well, I don't have kids. I'm like, good. Maybe you don't need kids. And then as I'm walking away, I'm like, you're free to go now. Like, we're done. I was like, come on, baby girl. And as I'm trying to walk away, she looks me dead in the face and goes, well, maybe you shouldn't have had kids, so that way you wouldn't have had to hold me up. And I go, excuse me? The fuck did you say? And this is where I'm disappointed in myself. I could have just laughed it off and said other things, but instead I let it get to me in the moment. And I was like, what the fuck did you say? And she's like, you heard me. Maybe you don't need kids. And at that point, that's when I kind of lost my shit, and I started cussing at her. I was like, fuck you, bitch, you stupid hoe. And she's like being antagonistic. She's like, oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's good. You got another one? And I played right into it. And yeah, so needless to say, a part of me wanted to punch her. The other part of me wanted to knock the shit out of her hands and make her walk, because all she had was like a salad in her hand. Like, you went into H-E-B to get a fucking salad. So a part of me wanted to just knock that shit out of her hands and be like, go fucking get another one, you dumb bitch. But yeah, it's just one of those situations where, and the way that she was talking and the cattiness behind it, it irks me. I'm so over people. You can tell people who have never been hit in the face before. Let me put it that way. If you're listening to this, understand that if you've been in a fight, you know what your limits are. And don't get it twisted. I know there's people out there who look for fights, and they like to fight, and they want to fight, and they have no kind of discipline whatsoever. I have a few of those people in my family. But at the end of the day, somebody like her, who looks expensive, acts expensive, and is catty like that, they've never had to worry about getting punched in the face. Those are the type of people I can't stand, because it's like, dude, I know what my limits are. I know what it feels like to get hit. I don't like getting hit, but I also know my limits as far as what I can and can't take. And I feel like the boldness came in because, again, I'm 6'1", 240. And I had my kid with me. I think she felt protected in a way, in a weird, fucked up way. I think she felt like, I can talk all the shit I want because this dude's not going to fucking do anything, because his kid's right there, and two, he probably doesn't want to go to jail. The problem with that is that in a way she's right, but you never know what somebody's going through in life. Had she caught me on another day where I wasn't as lethargic as I was today, and when I was really fucking high strung, jail would have been the last thing I thought about. You know what I mean? But I think she felt comfortable in this little bubble that she lives in, because again, like I said, we were on a nice part of town. For the most part, my truck is a very nice truck. So I don't dress, ghetto or talk ghetto, or, you know what I mean? I'm well put together. I guarantee you, had I looked a little bit more on the grungy side, she probably wouldn't have talked shit the way she did. But I'm in Crocs wearing shorts with a regular t-shirt. I'm like in dad mode. You know what I mean? I look like dad. And so I'm sure she just was like, I can talk shit because this guy's not going to do anything. And like my mom brought up a good point. It's a good thing that I didn't knock that shit out of her hand, because she probably would have been all over dramatic about it, called the cops, and I probably would have got arrested. But like I told my mom, even if I would have got arrested, I would have been happy to go to jail. I would have told the cops, like, you're more than welcome to arrest me, whatever. I'm not going to argue with you guys. I know what I did, and I don't regret what I did. Fuck her. I'm tired of people who think they can just run off at the mouth and not face any consequences. Like, fuck that shit. I'm tired of it. Like, take some accountability for yourself. Don't treat people like shit. All she had to do was wait 2 fucking seconds so I could get my fucking daughter out. Fact of the matter is, I was there before her anyway. I was already in the process of getting my kid out. So why in the fuck do you feel so goddamn entitled that I have to stop what I'm doing so you can continue doing what the fuck you want to do? Like, that the world doesn't fucking revolve around you. Like, that shit annoys the fuck out of me. And then on my way home, I started thinking, I was like, fuck, man, I should have went more the sarcastic route. I should have played into her sarcastic hand and just try to outwit her and just play along with it and not let her get to me. When she said that she didn't have kids, I should have said something like, oh, well, good. Are you mad because you haven't had dick in a while? Is that your problem? Someone hasn't dicked you down in a while? Is that why you're angry? Is that why you're upset? I could have really played into that. But and it wouldn't have gotten to me. I could have flipped the script and get to her. Be like, oh, you don't have kids? Oh, that sucks. You're going to die alone. That sucks. No one's going to be there for you when you die. Maybe you shouldn't have been such a bitch, something. But I didn't do that, and instead I let her get to me. I hate that it happened, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad it happened in the sense of I'm able to kind of reflect back on it and, teach myself to not allow people like that to get to me. Her day's coming. You know what I mean? Like I said, she probably feels protected in her little bubble. But at the end of the day, she's going to run into the wrong fucking person. Just with the way the world's going. The thing that she needs, and I've had this conversation with my mom too. I was like, the thing you need to understand is, as an old person, just because you're old doesn't give you a pass. People don't give a fuck anymore. And it showed right there at that lady. She don't give a fuck that I had kids. She had this aura about her, and the way she looked at my kid and the way she talked to me, you could tell she didn't like kids. She hated kids. Like, what kind of human being are you that you want to use energy to have hate in your heart for small children? Those are people I don't want to be around. But you got to think, if there's those type of people exist, then what makes you think that there ain't somebody my age or younger that don't like old people and could give a fuck that you're old? And if you're old and pop out the mouth, they don't give a fuck how old you are. They're going to throw hands with you. You got to think about shit like that, man. That's why I stick to myself. I try not to get involved. And what pisses me off is I try not to get into situations and avoid negative situations. And I always seem to get pulled into them. And like I said, I'm disappointed in the way that I handled this one. I'm happy that I didn't put my hands on her. I'm happy that she caught me in a mental state where I was a little more laid back than usual. But at the same time, I'm upset that I let her get to me. But I'm curious, what would you have done in a situation like this? Because obviously, this woman doesn't mind her tongue. I even told my mom I was biting at my tongue to not tell her to call her husband. And I told my mom it's a good thing that a man wasn't with her. Because if a man was with her, my attention would have been on him. I would have been like, yo, bro, you need to fucking get your chick in check. Because if you don't, you're my target. But I don't know, man. I'm curious as to what you think about the situation. Do you think I was in the wrong for making her wait? And if you do, tell me why. Because like I said, in the situation, I was already in the process of getting my daughter out of the truck. I had just wiped her face. I was about to unbuckle her when this lady's sitting there telling me, excuse me, can I get in my car? And I wasn't rude to her. I just said, give me just a second. I almost got my kid. I'm getting my kid out of the car right now. And then we'll be on our way. I didn't get rude until she went into her Valley Girl. Oh my God, are you serious? Yeah, I'm serious. Be patient. Because if the shoe was on the other foot and I was trying to get into my vehicle and I saw a parent trying to get their kid out of the vehicle, I would have just stood there and waited. And even then, had she been quiet and just waited for me to take my kid out, when I closed the door, I would have looked at her and said, sorry about that. So I'm curious as to what you would do in that situation, how you would have handled that situation. Any funny comebacks that you would have had, I mean, send them to me. I'd love to read them. But like I said, I was disappointed about the way I reacted to it, the way I let her get to me. And so that's something that as a man, as an individual that's trying to be better, I'm going to take that and I'm going to learn from it. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Like I said, this episode was I'm recording this today, so that's why it is coming out a little late. But I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about it. So if you want to write into the show, you can write in at cognitivediscoursepodcast@gmail.com. That's cognitivediscoursepodcast@gmail.com. Or you can hit us up on the Facebook group. I am in Facebook jail at the moment. As of August 6th. So if you're listening to this and you go and you reply on Facebook, in the Facebook group, and you don't hear from me these next 7 days, understand that that's why I can't reply to you. I'm in Facebook jail. But yeah, also don't forget to check out our new show that I have with my buddy Nolan G from Every Podcast I Love Is Dead. We teamed up together and did a show called Basic Ass Dudes. It's a show where we talk about movies, music, video games, and we just bullshit over geek culture. So, excuse me, allergies are kicking my ass. If that's something that you'd be interested in, check us out on YouTube. We do plan on releasing on the other outlets for audio format, but for right now, people that I've talked to that have watched the show really like the fact that they have video with audio to watch. So if you check out the show, if you want more of an audio type based, if you're down for that, let us know, because we're still kind of weighing our options there. We kind of want to exclusively do YouTube, but if there is an audience out there that wants just the audio only so they can listen while they drive and stuff, let me know, and that's something that we can work towards. But check that out. Just type in Basic Ass Dudes in YouTube in the search bar and we'll pop up. I'll also leave a link down in the description. And as always, all the links to everything will be down there. I'll leave a link down to Every Podcast I Love Is Dead, so you can check that out with my buddy Nolan. He interviews bands and talks music news. So he's a fun dude, man. He's awesome. I love the guy. He's my Canadian brother. So I'll leave a link down to his show. And then I'll leave some links also to just some of if you guys are interested in other things that I'm doing, as far as my music is concerned, as far as even my clothing brands that I'm trying to kind of build and make more a thing. You can check out some of the designs that I've made for some of my brand t-shirts. And if one of them speaks to you, I'd really appreciate the buy, because everything that I'm trying to build is trying to put under one umbrella, basically. So, I'll have links to merchandise for this show, links to my other brands, And any money that is spent on merchandise goes right back into the shows. So I do appreciate any love and support that I get from you guys. But yeah, man, thanks for listening to me rant for today. I'm hoping that I will calm down. I'm still a little flustered about it. Talking to you guys actually kind of helped alleviate some of that stress that I was having. I told my wife what happened, and I'm glad she wasn't with me because, my wife she's not an aggressive person. But hearing that shit probably would have made her want to stab the lady. So it's probably a good thing that she didn't go with me. It's a good thing that my mom didn't hear kind of what was going on. She was in the truck with my son, and the AC and the music was pretty loud. So she didn't hear. She knew I was talking to somebody, but she didn't know what was going on. And it wasn't until I got back in the truck and I told her what happened that she was like, "What the fuck?" She's like, "I wish I would have heard that shit." And I'm like, "Nah, it's probably better that you didn't, because that's all we need is the cops to show up for two old ladies fighting in the fucking parking lot." But yeah, man, have you run into a situation like this? If you've run into a similar situation, send it to me. And like I said, I'd like to share it with the show. And like I said, if you have an opinion on how I could have handled it better, or if you would have, what you would have done in this situation, let me know. I don't understand people, man. People are so goddamn mean nowadays. Everybody is me. I don't get it. It's just, it's the same thing when we went to the restaurant. We were literally talking to our waitress, and these fat bitches just cut in out of nowhere. Like, the waitress is attending to us, and she cut us off. And I was like, "Oh, excuse me. We're fucking talking to our waitress. Like, what the fuck? Like, be patient, dude." Like, I don't understand people's mentality of this fucking me culture, this self-entitled culture. It annoys the fuck out of me, and it's why I don't like leaving my house. I mean, even when this COVID shit's done, I'm gonna be in a position where I don't want to fucking go anywhere because I don't want to fucking deal with other people's bullshit. Like I said, I just want to be left alone. But yeah, anyway, thanks for tuning in. As always, enjoy your Friday, have a safe weekend, and until next time.